I was easily inspired, like I mentioned earlier, by observing my father. The earliest I remember writing, I was probably about the age of 7, and I can remember writing short poems and plays, and I want to say manipulating my twin sister to play the second part of 2-part plays that I came up with, and then convincing my grandmother to watch us act out the parts. So that's about as early as I can remember actually dabbling into writing. I figured out that, I guess I smile because it's amazing how life can be a big boomerang. I started at 7, and sometimes life drifts you away, and here I am at 31, and I found myself right back at the essence of who I feel like is who I am, the essence of self, and I think life does that to you. And through my writing, I'm able to express my feelings, my thoughts, my emotions, my experiences, other people's experiences, and I'm able to do that, and I'm able to create a situation, or I'm able to determine the outcomes of different situations. I'm able to use my voice. It's inerasable and it's irreplaceable. They're mine. I can write for hours. That's what writing is for. I can do that and have nothing else to do and be very content. So that's how I know it's my passion, and so that's why I write. I don't need anybody else around. I don't need anything else. Well, Jasmine. And then I love to write. So why enough time? What made me write enough time? Like I mentioned, many of us sitting in the room, we either know or we have been in situations that we have perceived to be challenging. And as I continue to learn and grow in that area, I know that even in those challenges, the way I respond, clearly the way I think, the decisions that I make or make in those moments, they clearly shape the daily life I walk. And so, be it good or bad, in enough time, each character, Rhea, Sonia, and Julian, they all have choices that they can make. The point in which they decide to make a good or bad decision or choice again, it shapes their outcome. That decision shapes how they move forward and what they do in life. And so I hope that in enough time, that's what is presented. The opportunities that we take shape us, they move us. So we have to be very cognitive, we have to be very faithful and very honest in the things that we know we must move forward in. And enough time, each of those characters are faced with that. And so I wanted to make that basically the overall gist. I wanted to, how do I say this? I wanted everybody to understand that the opportunity for change always exists. You always can become a better person. Some people call me a perfectionist. They're not in the room. There's a guy that calls me, he says I'm a perfectionist. And to a certain degree I am. I know I'll never be perfect, but I really believe that every day I should be striving to become a better person. Whoever I was yesterday, I want to wake up and say, hey, I'm better than I was yesterday. And so that's what enough time should pull out. You should be able to pick it up. Amongst all the drama and all the juiciness that's there, you should be able to get that from the tone of the book. So, just as a quick synopsis, because I know when you leave here, you're going to go home and get in your beds and you're going to either read the print or you're going to read the ebook. And so I just want to give you a brief synopsis of what enough time is about. It's episodic, like I mentioned. So when you read it, you want to read it like you're watching a soap opera. So all the women in here like soap operas. I don't know if they're still on, but you're basically going to go from character to character. You left at the end of each chapter kind of wondering, okay, what's about to happen next? At least that's the hope that I hope you walk away with it. And so you have Rhea Dudley. She's a young teacher. She struggles with satisfying everyone else's needs, but her own. Even after she's betrayed by her husband's infidelity, she doesn't immediately change her way of thinking. I mean, I think sometimes we bump our head and we say, you know what, I shouldn't have done that, but somehow we go back and bump our head again. It just happens. And so, it's about learning the lesson and about somehow bouncing back from that. And so maybe, basically, she's just trying to grow and find herself, and from the infidelity, she's almost forced to figure out who she is and what it is she really wants. And so I won't give much other than that away about Rita, so please go find out. Sonia Trammell, she is a young girl who unfortunately did have somewhat of a hard life coming up. She was exposed to different things that weren't healthy, specifically drugs. And so her addiction or her challenge throughout the book is trying to overcome her drug addiction. But drug addiction is one thing. When you've got self-esteem and now I'm a mother and I've got to try and have a job and I want to be something with my life and I want to be successful. When you put all that on top of it, Sonia's got a lot to deal with. And so she's trying to find herself, she's trying to find her voice. And so her struggle is kind of a story of redemption. Even the characters that are with her, you do get a sense that you can overcome a lot, even if sometimes it doesn't seem like it. And the last character, Julian Jones, he is a young finance executive at the top of his game. You can't tell him anything. He's making good money, but unfortunately, I'm sure we know people like this. They're not happy personally. They're not happy. They want, their family may be more in tune. And so he is looking for love, and he is trying to rekindle or wanting to find his connect with his family. And he was rejected initially from his family because of his chosen lifestyle. And he's trying to reconnect that as well as find his purpose in life. And that's what happens with Julian, without giving a lot away. So that's pretty much the gist of the book. Even though the stories are separate in themselves, they all have the same tone. They all carry the point of grasping today and doing what's best for yourself to move forward. So that is that. And now I will do the reading. I am going to just do an excerpt from each character.